Hello and welcome to my home. Today I'm going to show you how to grow green beans in containers. It's easy to do and I'll show you how. But before we go there, I want to let you know I have other videos on my channel. I have easy to prepare recipes, product reviews, meditation videos, and other videos on how to grow various vegetables in containers. So come on, let's take a look at how to grow those green beans in containers. So when you're growing in containers, there's certain varieties of beans or green beans that will grow better in containers than others. I like to grow the bush beans and not the pole beans. The reason I don't grow the pole beans is that they tend to be long vines that can get 8 to 9 feet long, which means you have to grow them on a pole or some type of long trellis. Also, let me stop and say, excuse the noise. We do have some construction going on next door, and it's been going on for a while. But I didn't want to hold off from doing this video. So anyway, we like to use the bush variety of green beans because they're shorter and bushier, and it's easier to maintain in your containers. Now, when you're growing in your containers, as always, you need containers that have drain holes or drainage holes in the bottom of it, or you can use those aero bags, those cloth felt bags. But it's important to have drainage no matter which kind of pot that you use. Also, the pot size. It needs to be at least 12 inches wide to give those beans enough room to grow, and they need to be about 6 to 8 inches in depth. Now, the bush beans, the roots aren't as deep, so you can get away with that type of 6 to 8 inch pot. The potting mix is always going to be what you use in your containers. You don't use topsoil. You don't use soil from your yard, and I'll sing that in every video that I do on container gardening. You're going to need the usual 8 hours of sunlight for your vegetables. The soil needs to be moist, but you're not making mud pies. You can make mud pies maybe somewhere else in your yard, but not in your containers. So you want moist, not really wet. Now, to start your beans, you really need to be at a time in your growing season where you're about 8 weeks away from the fall frost date. But I like to look at the temperature range. These beans that I'm growing, which is called the tender green bean, they are short and stocky type bushy beans, and the temperature range, you want to be around 65 to 85 degrees. So looking at the temperature ranges in your area for September and October, and bearing in mind that these tender green beans, they mature in 50 to 55 days. So September and October, in most areas, you're going to have that temperature range. And if it dips down a little low, you can just use some of that shade cloth. Let me show you that real quick, because I got some shade cloth on some of my now I got some shade cloth over that container, and I have some onions that I've started. It's kind of warm, and so I'm trying to shade them, try to keep them going until the cooler weather sets in. So that's what I mean by the shade cloth. As far as fertilizer, you want to use a fertilizer that has a low nitrogen level. Now on your fertilizer, you'll notice 3 numbers. It's that first number that's the nitrogen, and you want that to be a low level. Now what I use is a Dr. Earth all-purpose fertilizer, and that's it right there. Now this Dr. Earth, it has its numbers of 4, 6, and 3. So that 4 is a nitrogen level, and this is a low dose overall fertilizer anyway that I like to use. So that's what I put, and I mix in with my potting mix. And the reason you want a low nitrogen level is because nitrogen promotes the growth of leaves. So, and you really want the growth of the actual bean pod. So you want a lower nitrogen so that can help boost the production of your beans. Now, some other types of varieties of bush beans are one called top crop, one called contender. There's many others and the one that I'm using, which is the tender green. Let me go ahead and start planting some. Oh, before I plant some more, I'm going to show you some that are already growing. So I have 2 rows of green beans growing, and this is my largest container. It's 3 feet by 3 feet. And I have 2 rows. I'm going to add a 3rd row. This to show you how I plant them. But they've gotten quite big. I think I planted these on, let me check the card that I planted. Okay, I planted these on August the 20th. Now, I have trellises here. That's just for decoration, but you don't really need to trellis these, but have them there just in case. And I'm going to plant a 3rd row. Now, because this container, I've already added my potting mix, which I use Miracle Grow potting mix. I've already added the fertilizer. All I have to do is make that 3rd row. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And after I make the row, I'm going to make a indentation, like a line in the row where I'm going to drop my remaining beans. Okay, so I made my hill, and I also like to wet my ground before I plant. This is what the seeds look like. So let me give you a closer shot. So that row I just planted, I have my tender greens growing in there. So now I have 3 rows. So about a month or so after growth, you can start using some liquid all-purpose fertilizer. Find one that has a low nitrogen level and keep them fertilized about once a month until you start to pick your green beans. And green beans are easy to keep. You can keep them in your refrigerator for about a week, but you can also freeze them. I love green beans. If you like that video, hit the thumbs up like button and consider subscribing to my channel and hit the notification bell so you know when I upload a new video. That's it for now. Bye bye.